Okay. Hi. I am CCP Larrikin. I am a senior data engineer, scientist, senior data scientist. This is CCP Data. He is a senior data engineer. If you want to understand the difference between data engineers and data scientists, data engineers do all the actual hard work. They go and get the data, they make sure they maintain the quality of the data, they transform it, they put it into data lakes and data warehouses, they fix all the bugs that exist. Data scientists query that data, make pretty graphs, and sometimes do some fancy maths. That's all we really do. I do want to address 2 points at the start of this talk, which I think are going to be very important to set a little bit of the tone for the rest of the conversation. First of all, this is going to be pretty fairly data nerd specific. We're going to get into some of the nitty gritty about the data behind Killmails, how they're constructed, the history of them, and that sort of thing. We are not game designers. Neither of us actually work in the Eve team. The data team at CCP is actually separate from that, all right? So if you come to me with a question like, I don't know, why doesn't Rorquals do more damage or something? I'm gonna go, well, I don't know. Talk to a game designer. And the second thing is, all of you in this audience are thinking, when's Logi on Killmails happening, right? Yeah. Look, that's an excellent question. We'll be taking questions at the end. So please don't shout that out. Or, I mean, do, but we're not going to answer that until we get towards the end. Okay, so who here has been playing before 2004? So 2003. So 1, 2, All right, well, you guys will definitely know the answer to this. But for everyone else, except the people who have been playing back then, why are Killmails called Killmails? Like, what's the mail part? Does anyone remember?
It used to get sent to you in the mailbox.
You're right! They did used to get sent to you in your Eve mailbox. That's what the original Killmails were. Somewhere around sort of late 2003, early 2004. I was actually playing then, but I don't specifically remember when this happened. When you killed someone or were killed by someone, like an actual Eve mail would get sent to the victim and the killer. And had kind of, I can use the laser pointer, kind of this blob of text here, right? Which would, tell you details about the kill. I just picked a random kill mail in HLW because that's where I used to live for a little while. Players built killboards for these kill mails, and you would take the random blob of text there and you'd copy and paste it into your killboard. Those killboards got built up, similar to the killboards that exist right now. Now, I'm sure none of you would believe this would happen, but it turns out that some Eve players would take that blob of text and doctor it a little bit, right? Because there was no checking on it. People just dumped it in there. And killboards couldn't entirely be trusted. But it turns out you guys really, really liked these things. Like, Killmails were cool. We don't actually know what the first, Eve mail, Killmail was. All of those really old Eve mails got purged from the database about, I think, 5 years ago or so. So the only ones that we kept were ones that were mailed between, if you got a kill mail and you emailed it to your mates that were in the fleet with you or to someone to brag or something, those are the ones that we still have in the database. The rest are kind of gone forever. So I can't tell you much about, the first kill mail. But then, CCP quickly noticed, hey, you guys seem to really like, well, when I say quickly, it took us 3 years or something. Anyway, we quickly noticed that you guys really like these kill mails, and so we developed something with a little more authenticity with API kill mails. This is pretty much what we have right now. They were introduced in late 2007, and the very first Killmail ID number 1, happened about an hour after downtime started on that day. And it was CCP Atropos who was killed or died in a Dominix. Now, we don't know what killed CCP Atropos. We just know a Dominix killed him. It could have been an NPC. It could have been a /nuke command. Actually, that's a good point. So you're mostly used to very short downtimes, a couple of minutes at the moment. But back in the olden days, downtime used to be considerably longer, about an hour to patch, and then after that there would be VIP time, which is when the developers would log onto the game and they would like test all the things and make sure everything worked. Now, I'm not saying they didn't test before they deployed to live. That's not what I'm indicating. But the test environment and the live environment was a little bit different back then, and perhaps some of our processes weren't as good as they are now. And so they would spend this VIP time checking to make sure all the systems were working as they expected. And so, yeah, during this VIP time, this is when the first Killmail happened. But let's go and try and find the first Killmail where there's a victim and a killer. And that's kill ID number 3, which was, again, a CCP Killmail, about an hour after the first one, where CCP Peasel in a Rifter died to Onemancer or Onomancer in a capsule. That could have been a bug, it could have been a /nuke, who knows, I don't know. In fact, the first 68 Killmails were all CCP testing the server to make sure it worked. So the very, very first player Killmail is Killmail 69. Nice. Which is, funny. Also, it happened 10 hours after the server came up. So I'm pretty sure that means that the server VIP time was about 10 hours long. And Dolores died in a Condor. The kill record, the database row for this specific kill, which is literally row number 69, shows no killer, so it could have been an NPC, we're not really sure. The very first Killmail with 2 players involved where they kill each other is Killmail 70, where Andros got killed by a cyberjunk in a cyclone. Andros was in a Velator. We actually went and checked to see if these 2 non-gender specific people are still playing, and we saw cyberjunk last actually get a kill in 2015, which is still pretty impressive. I'm pretty impressed by that. So, yeah, Killmail number 70 was the first one. But let's actually start talking about how these Killmails kind of work. And to do that, we're going to need to talk about how the Eve server works. Now, if you're not a massive nerd, you probably think there's some sort of server that exists in the cloud, I guess, and it does servery things, and there might be a database to persist stuff, and clients connect to that server. And you're kind of right. The Eve server is a little bit more complicated than that. There's not a single server that does things. In fact, there's a whole bunch. There's 200 or so physical servers that do a whole bunch of things. There is only one database, but yeah, on top of all of those physical hardware servers, we have nodes or processors. Sometimes a single physical device will run a whole bunch of processors. Sometimes, especially in the case of Jitter is a good example, or a battle nodes, a single process will only run, only one process will run on the physical machine. And together, those nodes all work together and form a cluster. And your Eve client will connect to that cluster. Each of these nodes can have different tasks. So some of the nodes are gateway nodes. They're the ones your client connects directly to. Some of the nodes are solar system nodes. We have nodes that are focused on looking after your character as you gain skills, etc. There's market nodes. There's a whole bunch of different nodes doing different things. The code on all these nodes is identical, but the actual task that they perform is a little bit different. These nodes obviously talk to each other using networking. I don't really understand how they communicate and know where to send messages and stuff. I'm not a distributed systems engineer, I'm a data scientist. So as far as I'm concerned, it's kind of magic. But anyway, most of the data, or almost all the data is kind of stored on the database, and that's the source of truth. So if we're going to dig into Killmails, we need to forget about most of the rest of the server, and we need to focus on a single solar system node. And inside that single solar system process/node, there are a bunch of different services that are running. And so there is a process or a service that is the in-space simulation. And this is actually called Destiny. That's the sort of bucket or the name of the service that runs that. Little known fact, back in the day when CCP was naming these services that run various things, they were obsessed with band names. And so there's Destiny, there's Beyonce, and there's a whole bunch of different ones that are named with oddly after band names. Anyway, so Destiny is responsible for the in-space simulation. There's also a service called a Crime Watch, CrimeWatch deals with basically aggression between players and other things. So if you shoot someone, CrimeWatch will decide, hey, is this a crime? Do I need to send Concord? Do I need to modify standings or anything like that? There's another service called Dogma. Actually, CCP Data pointed this out to me. He said, oh, what's Dogma mean? I'm like, and then he went and looked it up, and it turns out Dogma is like almost like the divine rules that you kind of have to abide by, and that is exactly what Dogma does in our Sol system process as well. Dogma is all of the attributes and effects. So if you have armor or shields or whatever on your spaceship, that's controlled by Dogma. All of your skills are controlled by Dogma on your character. All of the modifiers on your ship, so you might get a bonus to warp speed or projectile damage or something, that's a Dogma effect. All of that stuff, anything that affects kind of how you play your game, how you fit, how you shoot each other, all of that, that's all Dogma. And then finally, Killmails, right? Now, there isn't a Killmail service. Killmails kind of spans across a couple of these different domains. So CrimeWatch is like mostly responsible for Killmails, but it needs to talk to Dogma when effects happen, like hostile effects, and it needs to talk to other services as well. It's kind of buried inside CrimeWatch, but it does talk to other services as well. So how do API Killmails work? They're buried inside this process, and every time there's some sort of hostile effect between two things that we care about, we check to see if we should record it. And this is actually the code that we use on damage straight out of the code base. What's happening is we're going in and saying, hey, this particular combination of character and ship instance or NPC or drone or whatever did damage to this other particular character, and then we store that in a list per victim. So we're making, well, not a specifically list, it's a more complex data structure than that, adding up all the damage that's been applied to that particular victim from each unique source, and we're storing like the last source of damage or aggression that happened. So what was the last weapon that they used, or the last aggressive effect? Could be a warp scrambler or a jammer or something like that. And we're storing all of that data in this data structure. This is happening on the actual solar system node. And then finally, that thing that people have been shooting at explodes, boom. And then the solar system node will run off and it will collect all of the data that's been storing inside that data structure, and it will build what we're calling a kill blob. That kill blob is recording all the damage from all the different data sources. It's recording what the latest aggression effect was, who the victim was, what corporations and alliances they belong to, etc. This is actually an example of some random Killmail I pulled. This shows what the kill blob looks like. It's, if we go back one slide, you can see in here, we put together this XML contents of the kill blob. That's being very generous. It's sort of XML. It doesn't comply with the rules of XML exactly, but it's close. It's close to XML. You can't parse it with just standard XML parser. But you also see, interestingly here, like these are the different fields that recall. So this is looking at the items that have been dropped in this Killmail, and we see here like there's this T, which is short for type. One of these type items was dropped. I can't remember what all these other things are listed here. And the people thinking forward here might be going, oh, that's a bit weird. Why did they use T instead of just type, right? Like it's just data. Data is basically cheap and free. Well, anyway, we assemble that kill blob, and then eventually we're going to dump it to the database because we want to persist it, right? This is all just happening in memory on the solar system node. This is the function that goes and dumps all of that data to the database. And you can see all the different fields that we're showing here. Apparently moons was very important at one point. And then you see right up the top here this kill blob, right? That's all of that XML that we sort of put together before. Now, this is the definition, or very close to the definition, of the table where Killmails are stored. And this second row here, this is the kill blob that we were talking about before, right? This varchar max. Now, when the table was created, varchar max was 8,000 characters long. Now, who wants to guess what happens when there's more than 8,000 characters in that kill blob? Yep, we just drop it. The server node's too busy doing other things, and so the record never gets written, and we lose that Killmail. And guess what sort of Killmails that happens with? Interesting ones. Like Killmail, he jumped out in a Titan, was it like 6 months? Oh no, it was longer than that ago. And a whole bunch of people shot at him, and he dropped a whole bunch of loot, and it made the kill blob too big, and we tried writing it to the database, and whoops. So we in the data team actually had to go in and like manually create that later. And this happens, you know, not uncommonly, and unfortunately it happens in the most interesting Killmail cases. This is why it's actually happening. The other kind of big constraint that we have around this is that the node's single-threaded, right? And it has memory constraints. So first of all, if there's some massive battle going on, we've got heaps and heaps of tie-dye, Killmails are a little bit deprioritized in you know, what gets processed first. We want to focus on Dogma and the battle that's happening, and a little bit less on writing Killmails. We still definitely want them, but we kind of focus on that other. And also, you know, if the node crashes, which never happens, then any Killmails that are in memory, they get forgotten about. And lastly, we do need to be careful about the data that we're storing in that data structure. We do have limited amounts of RAM on our nodes. That's not, unfortunately, unlimited. And there's also complexity issues around that. And so we're only storing the very last source of damage from each one of those damage sources. And you may be aware, but we're not storing perhaps like logistics. Now, this is a data talk, and so I think it's fairly important that we have at least one graph. So this, look, is incredibly simple. It's just showing the number of Killmails generated each day since they were launched, and the line's going up, which is good. You guys and girls and non-binary pals really like killing each other, which I generally think is great. In fact, this is the same chart. You're getting two graphs in this presentation. This is the same chart, but it's normalized by the number of players that were active on that day. And you might be asking, what does that mean, CCB Larrikin? That means we've taken the Killmail on each day and we've divided it by the number of characters. And that's really useful because it gets rid of seasonal variations. For example, on weekends, people are a lot more active. And if you look at Killmails on weekends, there'll always be more because there's just more people there. Or there might be a longer downtime in a day, so there's less people playing, so you'll see less Killmails. This gets rid of that loss of that variation, and you can still see Killmail line going up. Sorry?
Right there, 2020, you can see COVID.
You can also see when we do the alpha omega thing right there, right? The other big thing too is because we're just dividing the number of Killmails by the number of active players, you can sort of see roughly, here we go, that about for every active player, about for every 3 active players, about 1 Killmail gets generated every day. Which is an interesting stat. I don't know what that means specifically, but it's kind of interesting. Anyway, I've spoken way too much.
Hey, okay. I am CCB Data, and I'm asking a question, what about data? So you saw the Killmail blob thing that Hooper showed you. It has a lot of data points, an interesting data point in it, but there's a lot missing and a lot to be desired if you're going to analyze how you guys are killing each other over and over again. So I'm going quickly over how we are getting data in 2025 from Eve. If you guys were here yesterday, Nick did a great talk about the networking.
That's CCB Chimichanga, sorry.
CCB Chimichanga, yeah. Oh, yeah. CCB Chimichanga.
I think?
Yeah, I think that's right. I looked up his dev name, but I couldn't remember it for the life of me. Yeah. Okay. He did a great talk about yesterday about how Quasar works and networking works. But basically, every action you do in Eve, when you undock, jump, damage each other, blow each other up, we get an event for it. That's like a proto-event. The game takes that, takes in the gateway, and then pushes to a Kafka cluster we have set up in. You can see the red line there that I'm indicating that they're leaving the game space. We're entering our data world here. We're not on the game anymore. And we take that, those messages, parse them with a bunch of lambdas and to JSON format and put them on another Kafka cluster. That Kafka cluster has a lot of consumers, a lot of different products we're using. We have the hub, which is just a database for the customer-focused data. We have a data warehouse, which we use to show all of you the great graphs analysts have shown in this today. Then we have our GM tools, we have our data lake, we have some websites that are showing data from this, and all sorts of cool things. So, example of proto events we are getting. We get a proto event when you guys blow each other up. This is just a pro definition of that proto event. We get a bunch of cool stuff, like who you are, what ship you were in, where you were, what region, so on and so on. What you also get is a damage event. And if you guys are zooming in on that, here we also get damage by source. So we get what module was doing its damage. So immediately here we get a better overview of how you guys are killing each other. Like the kill blob, the Killmail currently doesn't show damage by source, just show the last weapon type, if I'm remembering correctly. Then we have a bunch of other cool proto events the game sends us when you're doing stuff. We have a logistical proto event that we're getting, which you guys are helping your comrades. A few examples of those, like when you are doing boosting each other's shield, armor, and hull. We all get events for it. We also get cool events for a bunch of effects that you guys apply to each other when you're doing PvP combat. These are a few examples of them. You do a lot more effects to each other, and there's a lot more happening, but these are like a few cool ones I picked up. So my question is, can we build a Killmail from these data? The question is, yes, we have, and we did it. So I'm going to go over how we did it. So to start with, when we get a destroyed event, we generate the kill hash. If you guys have used ESI or like shared your Killmail, you get this hash, which we generate with our secret formula that's not that secret, that identifies that kill. We do the same for this system. We generate the same hash so we can compare the systems. And then we insert our kill record for the victim. We take the victim ID, the ship ID, and the damage and the loot they dropped. We then find the killer and the killer's damage log. So to reiterate, like, we are listening to all the damage events you were doing, and we are bucking them like a 50 minutes window. And then when we actually get in a ship exploded event, we go over the logs, find everything that is correlated to your kill, and bundle it together. We also take the attackers, anyone who did attack on the ship when for the 50-minute window the kill happened in. We also take a look at the people who are assisting you. So people who failed to heal the victim, the people who were assisting the killers and the attackers by applying effects or healing the armors and so on. So there are a bit of constraints and differences between systems. So like Hooper mentioned before, the Killmails run on a single solo node. So when you jump between systems, we are missing the damage logs between. So this system does not have that. We track every damage per 50 minutes window. So the damage logs here are longer and more detailed, and we don't lose it when you jump between systems. Currently, if you looked at the destroyed Pro before, we do not have the cargo and the inventory, cargo and the fate of the ship for when you were destroyed. But we want to add that to that Pro, and want to push the game developers to do that for us. We just get the cargo and the fate when you jumped into a system, or duck on undock. We're not tracking any NPC damage. We're only looking at PvP damage. So this is just about players killing players, the important Killmails to start with. Okay, so few opportunities. So as we are not working in our game space, we can track a lot more things than we would usually can on normal Killmails. We can track like what skins you are using when you kill each other, how you look when you kill each other. Battles would be a super cool project to combine the Killmails into like a battle report. I can give you a bit overview of what was actually happening in this Killmails were killed. Fleets, we can add fleet IDs of all the participants that were in the Killmail, so you know what fleets did what. So this is Hooper showed you earlier attack blob or kill blob. This is basically that version, but for us. So there's a lot of stuff redacted here because character IDs, ship IDs, stuff I can't show you. But maybe I want to point out to you, like we have damage by module, we have like supporters here with like how the mods are repaired, and yeah, that's super cool. So we have been using this for the past 6 months. So we have like 6 months of running this together, and we really love it. And it gives us a better overview how you guys are killing each other in EVE.
Us analysts really love it.
Yeah. So what's next? So we want to add this to ESI. So we have not come up with a great name for it. Killmail data, Killmail analytics. It'll be very clear here. This is like another system that lives beside Killmail. And we are just offering this as to give you more data of how you actually kill each other. And this is outside of the game space. Yeah, so we hopefully can add an endpoint for this in ESI. Yeah. Q&A. So I'm not replacing it because it's a different system. Like I'm not replacing an in-game system. We're just giving you more data on the current system or what happened. We're going to take a Q&A. So I see a lot of hands already. So yeah.
So do we have we didn't organize this before, which is on us. Do we have a microphone? Oh, we do. Great.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Let's have a seat.
Yeah.
Would it be possible to track abyssal modules with this system?
The short answer is sure. The long answer is that's going to depend on the messages we get out of the game server. And so at the moment, as CCP Data was talking about, when a ship explodes, we don't get messages about what's even in your ship, or definitely not what was destroyed or dropped. And so it is absolutely possible to add messages that would like track, hey, this abyssal module exists or was on the ship, and these are all the attributes for it. So is it technically possible? Yeah! Is it going to happen? I think it'd be cool,
Yeah.
but that's not a yes or no answer.
How can you restrict it of getting that data out to the Intel world?
So it would work like the same as a current endpoint for ESI. You just use the Killmail hash to get the extra information about the Killmail.
Yeah, and that's like why the loser is getting the information. Only the winner should have the Killmail.
Look, that's a good question, and some of these questions are just going to be outside our domain. So we're putting together this data. Like this Killmail stuff wasn't built for players; it was built for analysts. And then we're like, hey, players would really like this too. Questions about like accessing are excellent questions, and ultimately that sort of thing is going to be up to game design to decide how widely they want to distribute this data.
So is it possible to repurpose the ESI system to maybe do real-time data damage tracking, like damage parsers? Is that an option?
That's asking a lot. Everything's possible, but are you talking about real-life tracking every damage in EVE?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the easy time is going to just tell us no.
Yeah. It's a good dream, though.
Yeah.
I have 2 questions. The first one is, I understand that you might not be able to answer this based on what you just said. Currently, the only ones who get the Killmail is basically the victim and the last blow, which causes issues for us in fleets. You know, the fact of, okay, who got the Killmail, link it, and so forth. I've heard before that it's because of privacy issues, like the gentleman just mentioned. But we would like to get everyone on the Killmail to get it, so we can easily see it. I mean, we were all part of it, and it's just luck who got on the Killmail, right?
Yeah, that's game space.
Yeah, I mean, I really like the idea actually that because we know what fleet you're in, we could actually like give it to the FC or something. Mm-hmm. Like they might get all the Killmails generated by their fleet. I really like these ideas. I think they're excellent. And do you remember like maybe a year ago we were, as part of the monthly economic report, we were putting out all the kill IDs and the battle IDs that were associated. Well, Squiz, he's a clever snowflake, and he quickly figured out how he could like backport that to find every single Killmail that happened for that month. So it didn't matter whether it was in, like you gave him your API or not. He just had every single Killmail that happened. And I'm fine with that. But there are players out there that are not fine with that, and we do need to respect that. So it's an excellent question. I'm keen. It's going to be gameplay that decides.
Yeah, but even if I don't want to reveal it, I mean, if my corp has the DSI, if the victim's corp has it, I mean, it's not up to me.
These are all excellent points, and we can't definitively say.
And the second question is basically, can we get a fire hose of all the kills? Because that would make it so much easier for everyone, and also make it possible to set up community tools. I mean, as an FC, I could see that, okay, out of my 20 logistics, I see that 5 is gone already, more or less real time. Or if that is a concern, give it a 1 or 2 minutes delay.
What do you mean by a fire hose?
Instead of querying for the kills, basically make it so you push them to said killboard and similar services.
Yeah, that would be something to ask the ESI team. Yeah.
Because that would.
Can you do that with, because I know you get a bunch of, I'm not sure what data you can get from the fleet endpoints, but you can definitely tell what all your fleet members are and something. I mean, I guess you'd have to query constantly to, yeah, and that might be on a 30-second delay or something, is it?
Yeah, we have the caching and issues with that, but actually getting the Killmails, you could easily correlate that with what your current fleet is, or even see, which I understand is a privacy issue. Okay, we actually see that these 5 dudes in the hostile fleet is doing the most damage to our fleet. I mean, there's so many possibilities opening up with that kind of things.
Yeah, all really good points. It's going to be up to the probably Chimichanga's team on what they want to expose via some sort of fire hose, and the easy team and gameplay as well. Good points, and like I want to see that stuff, but not our call.
The elephant in the room. When do the logi finally get to be exposed better? So you're collecting the data on who's doing the support. We can see it in the game and notifications. It goes across the thing, but it never goes anywhere else.
Well, that's exactly what we were saying. So this is the Killmail that we are generating internally for analytics right now, and this is logi. Those bubbles are logi, and we are talking with Easy Team to expose this to you like soon. Like, it's on their roadmap. I don't know when it's going to be delivered. So the short answer is sometime soon. Like, we're already making them. So yeah.
Okay, thank you.
The ESI team is doing a lot.
Yeah, we were talking to them and begging them to try. We didn't want to give this talk until it was already live. Like, we were going to do a live demo, and unfortunately they have if you've attended the Eve keynote, they have a lot on right at the moment. And so, yeah, it's coming. It is like, yeah.
Soon, TM.
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I understood this correctly, but at one point you said something about looking back 15 minutes in time after, before a ship died. Does that mean that if it takes more than 15 minutes to kill something, then you kind of lose the start of that kill?
It's kind of, I think it's how Killmails work today. It's like they are also looking at damage logs in a specific window.
Okay.
So we kind of set it up to just kind of mock the current system. It's no more logic to it than that.
So that's a really good point, though, and actually this is something we meant to raise but forgot to talk about in the presentation, was that our intention is that when this is released, it'll be as a beta endpoint from Easy. And then our next step is that we want heaps of feedback from the community, right? Because like at the moment, all we're doing is looking at logistics. We have ideas around, electronic warfare and other assistance effects, but we are not constrained by what the existing Killmails does at all. Like, we could totally do, a longer damage period, or we could show you when you switch ships, or, we could do like crazy stuff maybe where we look at, like, I'm just spitballing, like CCP Data's probably looking at me like, no, we can't. Like, maybe like how much potential damage you could have applied, and then what you actually applied due to tracking and what have you. We want feedback beyond just give us everything. Also, like, hey, this is just straight up wrong, and then we can dig into this and figure out what's going on. So we're going to want feedback from this before this goes from beta to like this is now an actual product.
A quick follow-up, like, how does that interact with tie-dye?
Well, it doesn't.
Oh, okay.
So once if we go back here, so this is all the game nodes, right? And this is one of the gateways. Once it's gone from there, We don't care what's happening on the server anymore. It's totally unconstrained by what's happening on the server. We have our own infrastructure. If tie-dye happens, that's fine. As long as we get a message, we can do what we want with it.
Yeah,
Currently.
yeah, currently we can talk more. Like being outside the game space gives us like a lot more like freedom to track much more data than the game actually does, because you have to run a game up top of collecting data. So for us, it's
Yeah. We kind of don't almost want to call this Killmails.
yeah.
Like, because that implies some like mental model about what they should be and should contain, and we're not constrained by any of that.
So in the beginning, you were talking about the database structure, where the blob for was the Nvormax, right? That you still haven't changed that, so it's still using Nvormax.
No, that's inside the game code, so we don't touch Eve code, like ourselves.
Yeah.
Other people certainly can and do, the decision is basically like, hey, we don't want to play with that. If we're going to do significant iteration on Killmails, that will happen outside the cluster.
Yeah, right. But is it still
for us for this new like data Killmails?
Yeah.
No.
In the database right now, that right there it says Nvormax. It's
Still
limited to
8,000.
after 20 years.
Yep.
Okay.
Hi, thank you. Does Killmails, with this new system, is it possible to track, for example, damage inflicted in one system and a ship killed in another system? For example, in wormholes, if you jump the system, you jump a wormhole, and you get killed by a scepter on the other side, but you're a marauder, you shouldn't technically die. But all the other fleet just jumped out of the system through the wormhole. But the Killmail only shows the scepter.
Yeah, that's what I touched on a little bit, is that we are not constrained by the game server, so we just get a event when damage sent. So our damage logs are not based on like you're moving between soul nodes like Killmails are. So we would have like, we would track every damage even if you're jumping between. Yeah.
So we would show all the damage that happened on both sides of the wormhole. We're not constrained by that. In fact, I don't know, well, you tell me CCP data, like we've got this breakdown here, like would it be potential to say like add solar system?
Oof. Maybe.
Maybe, all right. No promises.
But yeah.
All right, we've got a couple of minutes left.
Hello. I was wondering about the detailed, or how detailed is the location info? Could you, for example, do a 3D sort of snapshot in time of what the positioning of the field was like?
That's
a very good question. Today we just get the solar system. We don't get the like coordinates of where you did damage, but that's something that we have been wanting to actually also place why you were fighting there. Like were you fighting near a moon, or like what was the? Yeah, but we don't have it in this one. It's the old one. They have the moon ID, but yeah, I would want the location, like coordinates.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%. We'd love to see that in the protos. It is possible though. Remember the kill ID, also the kill hash, is identical between data Killmails and the old Killmails. So there's nothing stopping you just using one data source or the other. You can grab both. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure we published this publicly, I think. Yeah, there you go. So you could get that from this, like from both.
Yeah.
Hi. This all looks great. Is this not just better than the current Killmails? And in that case, should it not just replace the current Killmails in-game and as the main ESI endpoint?
Maybe in time. I don't know.
Any estimate on that?
No. Look, sorry, just to back up, we are not gameplay engineers. We're in the data team, and so we support them. And we literally built this not for you guys. We built this for us guys to help us do our jobs better. And then it became very obvious that we could get this to you guys fairly, guys, girls, non-binary pals, fairly easily. In the future, it may. At the moment, we're trying to get this into easy. Trying to get this backfeeded into the game, there'd be more steps. None of it is impossible. Everything is possible with time and money. I don't know. I think it would be cool. We would probably want some feedback on the beta system because like its functionality is just different. Like the damage totals you get from old Killmails versus data Killmails will not match. They are going to be different.
Especially when you're jumping between systems and stuff. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And so, this is another really good point I might touch on really quickly. What is happening on the monolith? It's a single-threaded process. Sorry, when I say monolith, I'm talking about the solar system node. That is a single-threaded process. It is deterministic. Right? Like what happens, happens. That's always going to happen given those inputs. Once it hits the message queue, once that message is dropped onto the message queue, and then we go and calculate it, it is less deterministic. We're dealing in a distributed system now. Messages can arrive late after we've generated Killmails. It is just not going to be quite as precise. In many ways, it has more data, it is more precise, but there are possibilities that it may not 100% mirror what happened as well as the existing Killmail system does. Conversely, we have way more data, we have way more opportunities, we have less constraints. Yeah. So it's important not to think of this as a one-to-one replacement. It may be in the future, but for now, no.
Is there any way to get deflected shots on Killmails when people are hitting damage caps? You sit there for half an hour and you do 600 damage, 600's deflected, or some idea of how much damage you would have done. If we move out of the whole idea of damage caps, or just get rid of damage caps, but apparently that's not you.
When people shoot structures, sometimes like it can cap the amount of damage they do. At the moment, this is the event we're using to get the damage, right? And so there's nothing in there about damage caps. So the answer is, at the moment, no. But this can be changed. And so as part of the process of getting this out, give us feedback, and then we're going to go and talk to gameplay and say, hey, like a lot of people are asking for damage caps, a lot of people are asking for skins, a lot of people are asking for real-time like fire hoses of this data. People asking for different access controls. Yeah, it's a really good question. It's technically possible. We'll see. Sorry to be answering a lot of these questions like that. I know it's not satisfying as a player.
So you mentioned that the data is coming when it's coming. Like you're eventually consistent, basically. So can't you calculate a kill report? Let's call it not a kill mail, but a kill report. Hint. Can't you calculate it like on the fly when people are actually asking it, and just when more events arrive, you'll have a more precise report?
So yeah. So when okay. So every time you would get a kill, you would go over every log, damage log, every supporter log, every effect you guys applied to each other for that kill. It's going to be a lot of players, like 1,000 players taking part of a kill. And recalculating that every time you ask for a kill mail sounds like a real pain in the ass. Or updating. Yeah. Of course. Like if you compute a kill mail and then you get more information about the kill mail, we can, like, of course, update that to a kill mail. Yeah. Sounds like kill report. That's a great name. Yeah, I love it.
All right, one more question, and then we're going to bounce.
Hi. Just got a question. Since you collect all the data, what is the reasoning behind that? I don't know if it's just on Zkill or if it's also in-game, that on a lot of kills that you see is that the ships actually shooting themselves instead of the guns. Sometimes you can see the guns that they're shooting, and sometimes it's just the ship shooting itself.
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't know. I don't know why that happens with old Killmails. I suspect that's got some, like it might be some sort of fallback. If you remember when I was talking about when the solar system node is recording damage, it records damage from each different source, and it records like the last damage source, and that usually has some sort of module or drone or whatever you. I don't know why. You're right, it happens, it's annoying. I don't know if that's because, no, I've got no idea.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right, it is annoying. Sure, yeah.
Sure.
No, it is a serious security issue.
You have office accounts on your barcode.
Protect the innocent. All right, look, thank you for coming, everyone. I appreciate it. Come and grab us in the halls if you want to chat.